Okay, as I mentioned in a previous video, as a teacher of grades 1 through 8, there you do have some ability to personalize your grade book a bit and configure some preferences. So I'm going to take you through how to do the most common personalizations and preferences configurations. So I'm going to start up here again in the top left hand corner under my classes. I mentioned in the previous video that you can change the name of those classes. Okay, so if you wanted to and you say, okay, I don't really want this section grade 2 English Language Arts to be called that, I'm thinking of a better name that I'd like to refer to it as, I can change that how it appears in my gradebook. It doesn't impact how it appears on the final printed progress report or in PowerSchool. It's just for my eyes. Okay, so if I'm going to do that, the first thing you'll do is at the top of your screen you're going to have a tab that reads Tools, and you click on Tools and you can click on Preferences. And then what we want to do is just click on the Section tab for right now, because I've got in the kind of the second section here, I've got an option for displaying a custom name. So I'm going to click on that, and with that selected, it means that I've now got power to go back and customize the names of my course sections. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to go up to this section I want to change it to say, okay, I don't like the name of that section, I want to change it to something else. And I'm just going to click on the Class Content tab at the top, and I can put in here a custom display name. So, you know, maybe for some reason I want my grade 2 English Language Arts class to be called Blue ELA. You know, that's the naming configuration that I like to use, so I just write it in there. And then this is very important. For each of your course sections, you can add a description. Okay, and that description will be viewable in the parent portal and the student portal, and it's fantastic for sharing with parents and students what that particular course is about. So you could have a little bit of an overview of some of the themes you might be studying, some maybe a description from the provincial curriculum about what the intent of the course is, and you can also have some links in there. So if you have a link to maybe a classroom blog or a website that you use often that relates to this course section, you could click on link and put something in. You just type it in here, and then the add link button is what you click on to actually add a website. So when I'm done with that, I hit save at the bottom right hand corner, and you can see here it's changed my course section to now Blue ELA, and I could do that for the rest of my sections if I want. One thing I'll say though, recall that these AM and PM sections are attendance blocks, and they're there for a reason. Please don't change those in any way. They're there because they're pushed from PowerSchool that way, and so there's no need to change them. In fact, could even be detrimental to change them. So just leave the AM and PM section as it is. Okay. Down here in the bottom left, I mentioned before that the gradebook provides a default set of assignment categories from which to choose, and those are customizable. So if you want to add or delete any categories that you see in your gradebook, it's pretty simple to do so. So right now, remember, it's my Blue ELA class, so my grade 2 ELA class that I've just renamed. I can say, you know, I don't need a section for both classwork general and classwork, so I'm just going to highlight classwork general, and if I click on the minus side, it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to delete the selected categories? Now, as long as I don't have any assignments already in my gradebook that uses that category, I can go ahead and click delete. If I do have categories or assignments that already use that category, it'll say, you know, I can't delete these categories because you already have assignments using them. In that case, it has to stick around in your gradebook. But you can delete ones that you haven't used and you know you will not use. Additionally, you do have the option to add a category. So if you say, okay, there's something on there that that is missing and that describes a certain category of my assignments that I like to assign, I need to add one. You just click the plus sign in the categories block, and you can say, okay, this one is not actually for test. It's just I guess a better word for that would be a sample, because I'm giving you a sample of how you could create a course category. You can assign a color to that, so for this one I'm going to select olive, and I can actually put in some default points for whenever I assign that category. I'll just leave it as it is right now. I'll leave the option to publish immediately and to publish the scores. And I can add a description too, and I can say, when I assign assignments using this category, here's why I assigned this category, and this is what it means for my students. So I click on OK, and you can see there's my sample category all ready to go and for me to use. Okay, back to my tools and my preferences tab. I'm just going to quickly show you that under my preferences I do have a tab that reads grading. If I click on that, I just want to show you that you do have some control about how values appear in your gradebook. So for an example, if you want your values to be rounded, so rounded up or truncated, so whole numbers or round down, you can go ahead and click on one of those. Okay, you can play with that and see what you like best, how it appears. You can also, when you're using those points and you want things to display decimal places, you can decide to change the amount of decimal places that appear and are calculated with Gradebook. I'm going to click on the Outcome tab right now, because in my Outcomes tab, I'm going to make sure that, and this is referring right now as standards-based grading. Of course, we know it more as outcome-based grading where we're from here. But the default is standards because Gradebook is made in another place. So we just put up with, sometimes we see standards being used interchangeably for outcomes. I'm going to make sure my top two boxes are selected. They have to stay that way. And down in the see, this stuff is grayscale over, meaning that I don't have any control to change that in the preferences. But one decision that eventually you're going to have to make, and you might not want to make it until you watch the next video, which is talking about the different approaches to assessing and reporting using outcomes, is this box here. If this box is selected, it means that any assignment score that I put in as an assignment, so I have an assignment and it's out of 10, will auto-calculate and assign a level of achievement to the outcome that I have associated with that assignment. So when it's checked on, it's called pushing through, and it actually auto-calculates. And then when I have that unselected, it means that it's not going to do it. So if I have an assignment out of 10, okay, and someone scores or achieves a 9 out of 10, it is not going to push ahead and assign an established for any outcomes attached to that assignment. I would have to do it manually. Okay, so more on that in the next video.